Hello everybody and welcome back to my Discord.py bot tutorial where every episode I cover a new command, a new feature, something new value of substance that you can add to your bot. And we're now on episode 7. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. And today we're going to cover a little game that you can kind of make with your users. And that's going to be a guessing game. So basically I'm going to quickly kind of explain how this game works. So your bot is going to choose a number within a range, and then it's not going to be like the number's not going to be told to the user, and then you're going to have to try to guess over and over again until you get the correct answer, and then the bot will tell you, okay, you finally got the correct answer, and this is how many tries it took you. So a lot more interactive. This will be it will be the longest command that we've covered so far, but obviously we'll have longer commands after that. But up to this point, this is the longest command we've covered. But yeah, with that being said, welcome back. Hope you're all having a great day, and let's jump right into the code. All right, so one thing I do want to mention really quick, just difference about this episode, is that in the past you obviously have seen that I've been using replit or repl.it to edit with this bot, but that's actually not the normal IDE or code editor that I use normally to create applications and programs and bots and all that stuff. I actually use Visual Studio Code, which if you know anything about programming, you should know about Visual Studio Code. It's probably I'm pretty sure it's the most popular code editor. So if you haven't heard of it, I'd recommend checking it out. It's very, very interactive and allows you to, I feel like it allows me to code a lot better and more efficiently. This isn't like a sponsor for that or anything, but I'm just trying to put that out there. This is what I'm going to be using. And also, in doing that, I'm hoping that the text size could be a little bigger. So hopefully you guys are able to read it. Because I know the text size on Replit, at least I think this is saying to change it, but how I had it set was very small and kind of difficult to read at times. But this should be better. But literally all I've done is I've taken the code over from Replit, copied into here, and if I go ahead and run this, I can just show you the bot still runs fine. The only difference about running on Visual Studio Code, and I'm not going to dive in depth about this, but just saying you do need to have Python installed on your computer, and you need to have all these packages that we've listed up here. You need to have those all installed as well using the pip install. And I will cover an entire video about how to use Visual Studio Code and editors on your computer, but that is not what this video is about. But yeah, as you can see, it's loaded up and our bot is online over here, and it works just like normal. But yeah, just wanted to make a quick disclaimer that we're using Visual Studio Code, so hopefully it's better visibility, and so you don't freak out. It's like, oh, he switched or whatever. It's a different bot or whatever. It's same code, same everything. I'm just gonna be building off of Visual Studio Code instead. All right, so jumping into actually creating the command, let's go ahead and get started. So the command that I mentioned that we're going to make is a command called guess, or guessing game. So I'm going to go ahead and create that. So I'm going to use the decorator at client.command to create a new command, and we can set some aliases real quick. So the name of the actual command, we can do that real quick. Async def, we'll just call it guess, just to be short. But then in here, you can put an alias of like, I don't know, guessing game. You could do like start game. I don't know, whatever you want to put in here, just aliases. I've already covered aliases, so I don't need to go over that. So yeah, let's go ahead and start this guessing game. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is actually get a random number. Get a random number that the user inputs, and we actually want to take in a max number. So just like we did for the roll command, we're gonna do the same exact thing where we take in a max number as an integer and take it as a value if they don't put anything in. So we're gonna put max as an integer, and then we'll just guess 1 through 10. If they don't, so this is pretty much saying if they don't give us a value, if they don't put in an argument for max, then it's just gonna be assigned to 10. But obviously if they put something else, it'll override that. So let's go ahead and move along. So let's just go ahead and deal with the front end part of it, and let's go ahead and create that random number that it's going to be, the user's going to be guessing for. So let's say number is equal to random dot rand int, and this is literally almost exactly copied from the roll command. I'm just getting a random number between 1 and max. Whoops, max. So now we have our number. So this, every time you run it, it will create it'll grab a new number between 1 and the max number. And if obviously, like I said, if you don't put in a max number, it'll be set equal to 10. And let's go ahead and send a message that tells the user, hey, the game has started. guess a number between 1 and the number that you put in. So let's go ahead and send that. So we'll say await ctx.send. We'll say guessing game started. And if you want, you can put this into an embed. In the code that I have on like my main bot, I have it in embed and have it all prettyified, but I'm not gonna stress about that too much. If you want to do it, go ahead. Guessing game started. We'll use /n to go to the next line, and we'll say please guess a number between, and we'll use Discord's markdown to use. Why is it not letting me use those? Okay, we'll just use bold then. Let's use an F string. And so we'll say guessing game started, please guess a number between, and we'll say 1, and then a dash, and then we put max right here. So there we go. And let's go ahead and just see what that looks like. Oh wait, we have to stop our bot and rerun it. Let's see. So now if I do .help, we should say new command, and that is guess. If you do .guess, it says guessing game started, please guess a number between 1 and 10. And if I do .guess 50, it says between 1 and 50. Great. Now let's make this actually. So okay, let's quickly explain how this is going to work. So for example, if I do guess 20, then guessing game started, please guess a number between 1 and 20, and then I would start guessing numbers. I'd say 3, and it would say incorrect. I would say 60, obviously that's incorrect. I would say 14, incorrect. Let's say the number is 18. I say 18, and it would say correct. It took you 1, 2, 3. It took you 4 tries. So that's the entirety of the game, just showing you a little bit more visual how this game works. And yeah, let's continue with the code. Okay, so what we need to do is create a check that's going to check. Okay, so diving into checks, it's kind of like difficult. It's kind of complicated to explain. So pretty much, I need to create a check that'll check for a specific something, and in this case, we're checking for a message. And once we get that check, we can check the I'm saying check a lot, the message content, and see if it's equal to the number that we've randomly generated. So let's go ahead and type something down so it doesn't sound like I'm talking. So we need to create a check, and we're going to pass in m. We'll just pass in m, and that'll stand for message. And then we're going to put this code right here, which is going to return the message author is equal to the author of the command, and the channel is equal to the channel that is being run in. This is the basics of any message check. So anytime you need to check a message, this is the code that you should have. The exact specifics of how it works is not complicated, but kind of hard to grasp. But pretty much just understand this is what a message check looks like. And now we're using this, we're going to be able to get the message content and compare it against this number that we generated, and then that way we can tell if that number is higher, if its number is lower, if that number is the same, and we can say the game is lost, win, or whatever. Also, I do want to implement a way for there to be a like a max amount of tries. I don't want you can leave it as that, but I don't want someone to be able to guess just infinite amount of times. I want it to say like you have 5 tries to guess a number between 1 and 10, and then if they guess more than 5 times, then it will the game will end, and all the checks will stop. So to do that, I need to create a for loop, and pretty much what this will do is so normally a for loop will run infinitely, and it'll run that however many times you give it, but what I mean by that is it'll run as fast as it can, unless there's something inside of it that stops it. And what's going to stop it inside of that for loop is going to be the check. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say await client dot wait underscore for, and we're going to say, so this you can see the documentation right here, and the wait for takes in an event and then the check, and it checks if that it checks if the check, because it takes in a bool if it's true or false, and only returns true if that boolean is true. And obviously there's timeout and all that stuff. You don't worry about that. But client.waitFor is going to wait for a certain check. So our check we've defined up here, but we need to take in, I don't know if you saw the very first thing that it said, it needs to take in an event, and the event in this case is going to be a message. and then the check is equal to check as we've defined up here. So we actually need to store this inside of a variable so we're able to check it, because this is what's going to store those different guesses that a user sends. So we need to store in a variable, and we're going to just call it guess. So whenever message, this is the event, whatever message, and the client's obviously waiting for this to happen. So when the event of message happens, it'll run it against the check and assign it to the variable guess. So now inside of here, we can say if guess, if guess.content, because guess actually returns a class type of discord.message. And if we just say if guess, this is actually guess is a class type, as I just said. So we need to actually get the content of that message. If guess.content is equal to number, then we're going to say await ctx.send you guessed correctly. But one thing that I already just realized is going to mess up is someone's guess. So any how do I put this? Any user input or arguments that are put into a Discord channel is automatically interpreted as a string. Even if you were to put in like all these numbers, if I were to put in 3, that is still a string. So I need to actually convert it to an integer, or we can convert the guess to an we can convert the number to an integer, which I think will be easier, because we're generating a number, so it'll always be an integer. If we do guess.content, and we convert that into an integer, if I were to put in hello and it tries to convert it into an integer, it would return an error. So go ahead and just convert your number into an integer, and then now these will be they will both be the same data type, so it'll be able to check correctly. And if I'm not mistaken, this will work. Obviously, there's a lot more stuff we need to add, like higher, lower, stuff like that, and tries. But unless I'm missing something, this should work. Let's see. So if I say guess 3, 2, 3, 1, 0. Okay, something, I haven't done something completely correct. Let's see what that is. Okay, so I know I just cut the past like 2 minutes out, which I probably shouldn't have done because it was me running through debugging the command to try to figure out I was wrong. I probably should leave that part in just because it shows you guys how to actually run through errors that you have. But let me quickly explain. So the main problem that was wrong is I tried to convert it to an integer, and I should have been converted to a string because I literally explained it. And if you were paying close enough attention, you're probably like, that didn't make sense what you just said. But I said that guess.content will always be a string, and then I tried to convert number to an integer, and I said they were the same data type. You need to convert number to a string. I was thinking backwards, but I'll quickly run down how I debugged this. So the first thing that I did is when I got this random number, I printed the number just so that way in the console I knew, as you can see here, when I started the command, I got 3. So I knew if I input 3 and it didn't say I won, then obviously something was wrong with that, just so I know what the number is and I'm not guessing. And then what I did is I put an else statement right here. And so I said, if the constant is not equal to the number, then I'm going to send incorrect. And as you can see up here for this guessing game, in the console, it said the answer was 1, and then it told me I was incorrect. So that's how I knew it was something wrong with the check. So that's just basically how to debug. Just wanted to cover that real quick. Next time, I'll definitely leave those in because it is very useful, I know. But let's go ahead and get back into the actual command, and let's get rid of all this debugging stuff that I added. But oh yeah, so let's go ahead and show you guys that the fix actually does work, and I'll show you that in real time. So if I do .guess 5 and I don't have it printed to the console, I put 1, 3, 5, 2, 4. Okay, it was the last number. Nice. As you can see, it actually is waiting for me to send a number. And it says you guessed correctly when I put the right number in, which in this case was 4. Okay, so what about the tries? When I end the command and when I say the right number, I want to put how many tries it took me. So how I'll do this is so let me go ahead and explain this again. I never explained this, but in case now that command's actually created, I can explain this a little better. So with this for loop, it's gonna normally it loops over as quick as it can, but this time it's not, because it has this client.wait for, and it's waiting for this check to occur. So it's actually stuck on this line until it's true, and when it's true is when a message is sent, because the check is checking for a message, and then it runs all the code below it. So pretend we just run the command and it's looping through this it's iterating through this for the very first time. So it's stuck on this, and right now the I value is 1, or like not the range value, which is in this case I, but whatever it may be. And after that command, or after that message is sent, we're checking the content. So that would be our first try, and then our second try would be when it loops through back again, and I would be equal to 2. So if I just put I right here, because remember this is inside of a for loop that contains I, and let me put an F string so it actually works, you'll see, you guessed correctly, it took you, and I'll just put it in bold, tries. And honestly, I haven't tried this exactly, so it may be a number off, but I'll see if this works correctly. So guess 4, we'll say 2, 3, 1, 4. You guessed correctly, it took you 3 tries. Okay, so yeah, that does make sense. Because when it runs the code below, it's still on the last iteration. So to fix that, you literally just put I plus 1. And so now it'll actually say the correct amount of tries. So yeah, now if you do guess 4, and hopefully we don't get on the last try this time. 3, 1, nice. So there we go. As you can see, it took me 2 tries. And it says, you guessed correctly, it took you 2 tries. But what happens if, so this for loop, as we know, is only going to 5. So what happens if we guess more than 5 times? If I do guess 2, and hopefully, okay, I'll try not to get on the first try. Please don't be 1. Okay. And if I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so I've guessed 5 times already. So it's out of this for loop. And now if I guess 2, which is the correct answer, as you can see, it doesn't tell me the correct answer, because we're outside of that for loop. But what I want to happen is after it's guessed all 5 times, I want to say, you have run out of tries, you have lost. The game's lost, you've run out of tries. So what I do is I come outside of this for loop, and I say, await ctx, excuse me, await ctx.send game lost, you have run out of tries. So this will only send after that for loop is completely out iterated over. I don't know how to say it. So let's go ahead and try that again. Guess 2, 1, nope. Okay. I want to get it on not the first try. Come on. Please just be 2. Okay. There we go. Finally. And now, wait, it's all, hold on. All the games are combining. This is confusing. Stop. Guess 10. 1. Oh, okay. That is an error. Let's just fix that real quick. Okay, sorry. I just forgot the else statement. This should be else. So we're actually elsing the for statement. So it's pretty much saying if nothing is correct out of the for statement, then we else it and say game lost, you've run out of tries. So I just did that, but I'll go ahead and show you again. Guess 10. We'll say 1, 1, 1, 1, and try for the 5th time. And then you say game lost, you've run out of tries. So there we go. That's how we do that. And I think the last thing that we need to do is say, so every time we put in an answer, so when I say 1, obviously the answer was higher than 1 since 1 was the lowest. So when I say 1, I want the bot to return and say higher, just to give us a little bit of help. So inside of this, so as you can see, we have this if statement that checks if it's equal to, but what if we put an if statement that says if guess.contents is greater than or equal to the string of number. So pretty much what that means is if the number that we're putting in the channel, if that's greater than the number, if it's greater than the number, then we want the bot to tell us to guess lower, because we're guessing too high. ctx.send, and hopefully I don't have that backwards. I think I have it right. So I just say lower, and then we'll create the same thing, and this should be an else if guess.content is less than or equal to string of number, then we can say await ctx.send higher. I think I'm pretty sure I have this backward. Sorry. I'm pretty sure I have this correct and not backwards. We will see. Guess 10. If I put 2, it's going to tell me higher. Guess 4, higher, 6. And there we go. So it was actually correct because I said 2. It told me to go higher. 4, still higher. And then when I said 6, guess correctly. It took you 3 tries. So there we go. I'm pretty sure that's everything I think that's all of the functionalities of this game that you can really make. Obviously, putting it into embeds and format it correctly would obviously make it look better. But I don't think functionality-wise there's anything else you can do. I mean, you can add more stuff to this. Like, for example, if you, instead of hard coding this value, you can either take it in and let the user decide how many tries they have, but I don't see why you'd want that. Or you can just hard code it in and say, what's what I'm thinking of? Max guesses is equal to, and then you can make it say 5. And then if you want to come in here and change that value, you can very easily. And then it's between 0 and max guesses. I don't think you need a 0, by the way. I think it'd just be max guesses. You can say that and say guessing game started. Please guess a number between 1 and that number. And then you can say you have max underscore guesses. And I can make that bold by putting the 2 asterisks. So guessing game started. Please guess a number between 1 and whatever the max number is. You have max guesses. And then game loss, you have run out of tries. And I can put you only get max underscore guesses or something like that. Like, just little things like this you can totally go after, like after I'm done with this video, and just add little things like that. So I do want to quickly add one more thing. Like I said, you can customize this however you want, but I do want to add one more thing that actually checks if the guess is a number or not. Let's go into that real quick. So what we can do is we can use this statement called try, and try and accept are 2 statements that work hand in hand, that you always have to have them together. And what try will do is try will attempt to run a line or lines of code in order, and if any of those lines does not work, like it returns an error, or if that line cannot run, like it returns an error, then it'll go to the accept. But if it can run and there's no errors, then it'll just stay inside of it. Let's explain what that means. So we have a try and we have an accept, right? These always have to be next to each other. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to convert the guess into an integer. And obviously if the guess is a string, then we won't be able to convert it into an integer, so it'll go to the accept. So we're going to say try int guess, guess.content, and we're going to say accept. So if we can't convert it into an int, then we're going to say await ctx.send, please send a number. And then so right now this will work, but you'll see, I'll actually show you the problem really quick. And the problem is that we get 2 outputs. And the reason for that is because, well, I'll show you really quick. If I do guess 4 and I type in a string like pig, you see we say please send a number, and we get lower, and we don't want that. So, and the reason for that is because we have this try and accept statement, but we still have the if statements on the same indentation that will run regardless of what the try accept says above it. So what we do is we take all of this and we take all of this and we copy this and we put it inside of the try, because we only want this code to run if we have an integer. We only want to return higher or lower, or if they guess correctly, if it is an integer, obviously, because that's the only way that will win. So now it should work, and we say guess 4, 2, higher. If we say a value like that, you say please send a number, and it doesn't tell us higher or lower. Let's just try, I don't know, 4, lower, 3, and there you go. You did correctly. It took you 4 tries. So there you go. Again, I'm sure you guys are smart enough to figure out, ways to customize this with if, else, if statements, all this kind of stuff. But yeah, this is a longer command. I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's more in depth, more interactive between your users. You're able to, let's go ahead and set the max guesses to 999. And let's see if I can guess a really high number. And just to show that you can go however high you want. So if I try to guess a number between 1,000, please guess a number between 1 and 1,000. You have 99 guesses. Okay, so we're going to try right in the middle, 500, higher, 700, higher, 900, still higher than that, 950, higher, dang, 980. Okay, it's between 950 and 980, 965, 962, 958, 956. There we go. And just like that, I was able to guess a number between 1 and 1,000 in 9 tries. That's actually pretty impressive. But yeah, if you want, you can set this. You don't have to have this check. You can set max guesses to a really high number, or you can get rid of this for I in range and just make it like a while or something like that. You don't have to have this set cap on how many tries that they can have, or you can decide to a high number and not display that guess, and it'll just allow user to guess however many times they want. Completely up to you. Like I said, this is very customizable. That's the whole entire point of this tutorial, is not to give you hard code on exactly what to put into your bot and copy. I'm trying to explain every single line of code, so hopefully you guys can understand and apply that to a real command that you guys could implement into your bot. But yeah, with that being said, that's the end of it. I hope you guys enjoyed. This has been kind of a more fun one, hopefully, for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this more interactive type game, and please comment down below any suggestions that you have for video ideas, any suggestions you have on, the video making. Hopefully this was easier for you guys to read the code. It should be a little bit larger. Just let me know if I need to make it bigger. Just let me know. Any questions you have about Visual Studio Code, any of the commands, I do have a Discord server which you can ask for support and help. There's a bunch of community people there that will help you out. I myself will help you out as soon as I read it. Yeah, with that being said, that's going to be the end of the video. Hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you did enjoy the video, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace out.